Hello, welcome back to another 90 Day Fiancé recap. We're going to be talking about The Other Way, Season 5, Episode 8, Mistrust, She Wrote. By the way, it's 8 a.m. right now. I've been up since 6:30 because my damn dogs, and I normally don't record this early, so I apologize if I don't sound chipper this morning, okay? Let's start with Holly and Wayne, and we're going to keep it short because not much happened. So remember in the last episode, Holly ran away after finding out that Wayne put all his money, which included their honeymoon funds, into crypto without telling her. So then she runs away because she felt betrayed that he would make such a big move behind her back. What does Wayne do? He gets into his car, and does he go get her? No, he goes and drives off somewhere else. I don't know. She doesn't know. Nobody knows. She's outside barefoot and she's like, oh my God, did he just leave?
I don't know what that was. What kind of person would leave their fiance stuck in the middle of nowhere? I mean, he knows I don't know my way around here and he just took off. I mean, was I bullying him? Was I pushing him too much?
So Wayne ends up coming back. And then when he does, Holly runs over to him, and the way she runs over and hugs him, it was as if she hadn't seen him in a year because he was lost. He was a missing person and they just found him. And so she's running over, hugging him tight. And if you look at her, she looked like the missing person because her lipstick was smeared. Her hair, it was a bird's nest at this point. It was all over the place. And she was barefoot. Her feet are all dirty and nasty. God. She looked like a hot mess. Now, Wayne says in his interview that when he and Holly first started talking or dating or whatever, she told him she could never be with a man who is financially struggling. So that's why Wayne didn't say anything about his finances and his struggles because he was afraid Holly would leave him. So they both go back inside. And she's like, please let me in. Tell me everything that's going on. And he's like, don't worry about it. They're my issues. I'll handle it. And she's like, I'm going to be your wife. We're supposed to be partners. You have to tell me what's going on. And he just cannot seem to tell her how bad his finances are. He can't tell her how stressed he is, how mentally he's in a bad place. He just acts like everything is fine. This is not good. He is not emotionally intelligent. You have to know how to talk about your feelings. So that's where their segment ended. Let's talk about our very new couple, Shekinah and Sarper, like Harper, but with an S. Shekinah is 41 years old, which I have to admit, she looks great. Never would have guessed. You can tell she absolutely loves makeup and fashion, which she later confirms. And what I found interesting was because she's so pretty and perfect, she actually grew up Amish. And what's even more interesting is her parents just chose to be Amish.
I grew up in Tennessee and I'm the oldest of 6 girls. My parents weren't born Amish, but they loved the Amish lifestyle and they had a lot of Amish friends and they decided to just raise us like Amish.
I can't imagine a couple looking at the Amish and going, hey, that's the lifestyle I want to adopt. That looks fun.
My life is entirely different now than from the way that I was raised. I came to LA 13 years ago, and the longer that I've lived in LA, the more LA I've become.
Yeah, she looks very LA. I could never go there. I mean, maybe I'll visit someday, but I could never live there. I heard everybody looks perfect and shiny. So Shekinah is dating 43-year-old Sarper from Istanbul, Turkey, and he's a personal trainer and a model.
I want to see you in my dreams tonight.
Yeah, he's he looks pretty, yeah, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say they look physically very compatible. They look like they were man-made by the same man. They've been dating for 5 months and they have met in person because she went to Turkey to, I don't know, who knows, maybe get a Barbie nose. Maybe she went to Darcy and Stacy's doctor in Turkey. So yeah, they've met in person and she's willing to leave everything in LA, everything that she built, and move to Turkey to be with her lover. Now her friends are very skeptical and concerned because apparently her track record with men isn't really the best. They were all very controlling and possessive of her. Now, her friends also mention that, or maybe it was one of her friends. I can't remember. I didn't take that many notes on this because I was like so bored. But but apparently one of her friends was like, hey, so Sarper, remember he told you that he wanted you to lose weight and he wanted you to change your makeup and clothes and just like kind of change you? Hello, red flag, red flag, red flag. First of all, who the freak is telling her to change her body? Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? What is there to change about her body? Oh my God. I just can't. If she needs to change her body, then I just need to like die.
And since I met Sarper, he's just been telling me, like you should look more lean and 128 would be perfect for your height.
Shekinah then defends her man and she's like, no. He didn't want me to lose weight. He just wanted me to work out more and gain a little muscle. And yeah, he does want me to wear like a little less makeup, just a little more subdued. And yeah, maybe he does want me to wear like clothes that are a little bit more modest. Yeah, no big changes. Then the same night, her guy friend pulls her aside and he's like, hey, can I talk to you? And then they're sitting down and then he confesses his love for her. He's just like, I think we should be together. She politely rejects him because apparently they tried dating before, but she just didn't feel a romantic connection with him. I mean, this seemed a little staged. Like, are they really trying to convince us that a friend who was secretly in love with her decided that the day he's gonna confess to her that he loves her and he wants them to give it a try is going to be the day she's in front of cameras filming for 90 Day Fiancé? I think not. So that's where their segment ended. Let's talk about Mary and Brandan, and then we'll end with my favorite, Danielle and Yohan. Just a quick trigger warning, there is going to be a brief mention of suicide. Last week, Mary had a panic attack after Brandan stood up for himself and confronted her about her jealousy. And she's trying to catch her breath. She's hyperventilating, crying. And then a producer sits with her and she tries to get her to breathe and is eventually able to calm her down. Now, while the producer and Mary are doing that, Brandan is doing his interview and he's talking about how he feels so guilty for making her cry. And he was like, I wish I confronted her in a more gentle manner. Like, oh my God, Brandan, you cannot have been more gentle than that. Like, it's impossible. So frustrating how he feels so guilty. And my frustration does not go towards Brandan. It goes towards freaking Mary. All right?
I love this woman, which is why it hurts so much when I feel like I don't have this trust, because it brings me back to this state of mind like I'm not good enough. And I'm trying really hard to just hold on.
Brandan, oh my God, you guys, Brandan broke my heart in this interview portion. Absolutely shattered it. I was crying with him. I'm sure a lot of you guys were as well. So like I said, as Mary and the producer are behind him, he does his interview. He's breaking down. He feels helpless. He doesn't understand what he did to deserve this level of distrust and control from Mary. And he's frustrated, as he should be. He doesn't deserve this. And he shares on camera that it's something that was never mentioned before, but he says before he met Mary, he was in such a low point in his life. Like, he had a rough childhood. His mom was an addict. He had no father figure. His ex-girlfriend had just cheated on him, and he felt worthless. And he even tried taking his own life. And then he met Mary, and according to him, she changed his life. Oh my God, this is tragic. I feel so sad for him. This tells me that he held on to Mary as a reason to live. And I wonder if she knows about his attempt to unalive himself. I mean, if anything, she knows now, right? Their dynamic worries me so much. You know how everyone else who leaves their life to go live with their partner on the show, they always have a hard time leaving. And then later when they get into arguments with their partner, they use that in their argument. They're like, I left everything behind, my life that I love to be with you. Well, with Brandan, I have a feeling he was probably happy to leave because he had nothing to live for back at home. Like, yeah, he loves his siblings and his mother, but maybe it wasn't enough. Now with Mary in his life, like, she is a sole purpose. And so leaving for him really wasn't a big deal. Even thinking back to his intro when he was leaving, he had no issue. He was just so adamant and like stern with his mom. Mary is everything to him. She is his present and his future. I was so sad seeing all the pain in his eyes. And then when he went back to Mary after she had calmed down a bit, and she was talking about her fear of abandonment and how she can't help herself and blah, 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 blah. It's always about her. And she's so consumed with her own jealousy that she can't even see how hurt Brandan is. He is hurting too. If anything, he's hurting more. He is 100% hurting more, and she's not even able to see it. And she doesn't understand. Like, she can't even realize or recognize how much her actions and how much her jealousy is affecting him negatively. He tells her he loves her and that he trusts her, and he really needs her to trust him.
Is there anything you want to say right now?
Sorry.
I don't think that was sincere. And also, that wasn't even the answer he was looking for. He wanted her to say, okay, I'm going to try my best to trust you. Quick spoiler alert. Fast forward 10 seconds if you don't want to know. They're married right now and they're expecting a child. So that's where we are. And I personally would love them back for another season to see if Mary's jealousy issues got better or not. The next morning, she takes him to where she went to high school. And Brandan wants to make sure that everything between them is okay. And this is when Mary tells him that she's going to work really hard to trust him, but it's going to be very, very hard because of her fear of abandonment. And she also says, I'm most likely not going to be able to change, but I'll try.
I hope that you understand it's hard for me to trust you like now, today. Just give me time because I have this feeling of no matter how I try, everyone will leave me no matter what I do.
And I know you can't like automatically just flip a switch and just be like, okay, yes, I trust him right away.
Yeah, but I will try harder to trust you.
Oh my God. They need to go on the last resort. There needs to be an intervention. They need therapists to help them. So either Mary will realize what her jealousy is doing to him and their relationship, or Brandan is going to realize that he needs to get out. But then if they have a child involved, that changes things. So like, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I'm really worried. I just hope that they come back for another season so that we can see how they're doing. But then there was a Reddit thread of where Statler was on her TikTok and said that they got fired from the show because they were like spoiling it and breaking their NDA. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. At the end of the scene, after Mary told her about how she's going to try and she loves him so much and how he's perfect, he starts to cry. Oh my God, it's so sad. And he thanks her and he's like, this is exactly what I wanted to hear. Like, I'm so happy. I was like, Brandan.
I love you so much.
I love you just as much, Bevy. Thank you.
Don't cry.
That means a lot to me. Thank you for reassuring me.
Don't cry.
I'm trying not to.
First of all, what the hell did she do to deserve this sweet, sweet angel of a man? And I can't even get a guy to look at me. Let's end with Danielle and Yohan. And even though I do not want to see another fertility journey, I feel like this was kind of interesting. So Danielle and Yohan go to a fertility doctor. Remember, they were trying to get pregnant naturally, but it didn't happen. And they end up going to the same doctor who told her before that she was never going to get pregnant naturally. They meet up with him. They're looking at their other options since her egg count is super, super low / non-existent. So they're looking at egg donors from women who look like her. And then Danielle will carry the baby. Yohan asks the doctor, since the baby is growing in her belly, will the baby inherit some of her traits? And the doctor's like, well, the baby's going to be in her blood, but genetically, no. First of all, I was really confused as to why Danielle would even want to carry the baby if she's going to get an egg donor. Like, why would you want to go through that? Like, just get a surrogate. I feel like the only reason she would want to do it is like to have the experience of the baby growing in her belly, but I don't know, I could never.
No va a tener los genes de Daniel, pero sí va a tener los genes tuyos.
Me molesta,
de que el niño no sea de ella propia, que tenga que usar un donante.
While I was watching this, I found it so fascinating that we as humans, it's like human nature to want our own DNA and genetics when we talk about children and our offspring. Like, people will go to the ends of the earth to try and have their own DNA baby. And adoption is rarely ever considered. It's like the last option if they even do consider adoption. And it's kind of sad. It made me sad because there are so many babies and children in need of loving homes and who need loving parents. I mean, obviously, I understand at the same time why humans would want to create their own child. But then, like, why spend tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars and just like do treatment after treatment after treatment after treatment after treatment when you could help and give a loving home to another child in need? You know, that's just something that it's like so hard for me to grasp. Like, I just don't get it. If you're new to this channel, I just don't want to be a parent at all, period. But I always tell people, because everyone always asks, what if you regret it someday? Well, bitch, if I regret it someday and I'm 50 and I desperately wish I had kids, I am going to adopt. And that's my answer whenever people ask, and it shuts them up. But I'm not just saying that just to say it. Like, literally, I would love to adopt if I were to have kids. But in general, I don't want kids. So anyway, back to Yohan. What was really funny was Yohan was like, oh, I really wish the baby would have her eyes and her cute little nose, but not her temper. Facts. After the doctor's visits, they're driving back home and they talk about how expensive this is all going to be.
Okay.
Sería 11,500.
I don't have $11,000 earmarked for this right now.
And Danielle wants to make sure they're on the same page about how to raise this child. And she's like, I think you're excited to be a father so that you can have fun with the kid and play with the kid. And he's smiling as he's driving. And she basically says, you know, it's not just fun and games, though. You have to discipline them. They need structure. They need guidance, which is all true. But Yohan gets offended because he's like, are you trying to say that I can't do that? And she's like, well, we need to agree on like the morals or religion, and we don't agree on any of that stuff. Like, for example, what time do you want our baby to go to bed? And he says 9 p.m. And she's like, no way. Your nieces and nephews are up until 10, 11, 12 at night. And he's like, so you don't like the way my family raises the kids? And he's super offended again. And Danielle's like, oh my God.
We aren't understanding each other. How are we going to be able to raise a kid when we can't communicate?
Exactly. You can. Danielle's got to be freaking insane if she actually goes through with this. If she actually gets an egg donor to put into her body and carry a child that she doesn't even necessarily want with a man that she has nothing in common with. This child is gonna cost a lot of money, and y'all don't have any money. God, watching this show makes me so grateful. Well, that's it for my recap. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye. Take me back home. I accidentally looked at a girl that walked by. Mary then told me to fuck yourself and go die. I don't know how much more I can take of this. It's the freedom I made.